power rankings for Prospect.
Might be a fun old time. We've both had a little look at the teams here, and we've both prepared for all the moaning that's coming our way.
Yep, so on to Prospect, and we've done our own. So we've separated it, and then we're going to do it on the Photoshop graphic and come to an agreed conclusion and then release them later. So I think it's best that we start with the people that we've agreed on first, don't you think?
That would make sense.
In 9th position, we both have Gemini Storm, which is the roster of Sammy, Torga, Mythorix, and Borelius, and they actually have the lowest cap out of any team, with 190 left available. And I must say, a lot of teams have utilised the full cap this season, so it's getting harder and harder. And yeah, we've both put them in 9th. I'll let you talk about Caro, the next team we have in 8th, while I add this to the graphic.
Yeah, it will be Caro in 8th, as we both have them there again. Some consistency going on here between us. They only just managed to get Kaz beats last night over the deadline because they were actually over cap with 4 players just before the deadline occurred, so they've had to scramble to get Kaz in. But, Damumu, Ale Ems, and Jin Toxic, neither of us have too much confidence in anyway, so we've put them 8th. They didn't I think they finished 7th last season in Ignis, so yeah, neither of us very confident that they'll try to turn it around this time.
Yeah, and who have we got next? Have we got any more that we've agreed on?
We do. We have one more.
And who would that be?
It's the Tartarus from the Might of Hades, Senji. He's had such bad luck with teams throughout his 3 seasons of GM, and this one we're not too confident in either. It's Quack, Jay, Banana Peels, and Archangel. Also with not utilising the full cap. And mostly I just haven't really heard of these players. We've got Banana Peels from last season. He did win Prospect, but he didn't play in the playoffs, so he had to fight to get his team there and was the captain, but yeah, I just don't know too much about these players, really.
Yeah, he was the sub on the Tartaros, and he's still at 1025 CMV. The problem I have with Tartaros, they've gone for a really high sub in 1005 with Archangel, and the fact they've still got 85 cap remaining. A lot of teams here have gone for a low sub and 3 really high players, as we'll see with Kindling later on. But
yep.
We have Tartaros in 7th. So I have Micah Faction 6th, and you have Bing. Now I'll give you my reasons for Micah Faction. So Porp, Fluoster, Teehee, and Kairos Dane, they haven't really spent a preseason together, and they all got, I think, 3 out of 4 of Micah Faction got cut, I think, a couple of days ago, and they remade the roster. Might have been 2 out of 3. And Porp has confidence issues as well. So with him being the highest in prospect, I'm kind of thinking that this roster possibly disbands halfway through the season.
Yeah, he had to go spectator last season, and yeah, Fluoster and Porp were the 2 that were there, and Teehee and Kairos came in really late last night. And yeah, the chemistry not had the chance to build it up. They didn't do too well in the preseason tournament anyway. Yeah, it's not looking great for them, really.
So what were your reasons for Bing in 6th?
My reason for Bing in 6th, well, they've kept 2 out of the 4 from last season, kept half the roster in Endrick and Sabinex, and I think they finished bottom as Gamma. So that's something that's not looking too good. Crafty Mouse and Jix. I've heard a lot of people vouch for Crafty Mouse, but yeah, mostly it's Endrick and Sabinex. Just they're gonna have to try and up their game from last season.
See, I agree with you on that. I think Endrick has finished bottom twice. I think he finished bottom on Fane's team in season 6 as well. And I just, from seeing replays of him this season, he looks like a whole new player. There was talk of him being a minor player and playing well in minor tryouts as well, which we had to investigate. So I've put Bing 1 position higher than you. So yeah, where do you want to go with these two, Micah Faction and Bing?
I'm willing to drop Micah Faction because I didn't get to see that they had changed around the roster so much late on, so that will probably have a big effect. And as you say, poor having those issues with his mentality. So I'm willing to go Micah Faction 6th and Bing 5th.
Okay. Who do you want to pick next from Glacies?
So I've got Kindling next on my list, and you've got them first. So we've gone a bit different here.
Yeah. So the reason for Kindling, they've just won the preseason tournament. Somehow Hop managed to fit 3 1200s pretty much into his team in draft. I think he got 3 round ones. I don't know how. And they've got the only problem with Kindling that I can find is they've got the lowest player in the league as substitute. Now, if the 1200s are dominating every game and they're winning 3-0 and they just throw the gold player in for one game at a time, then that's fine. They're going to win the league. But if they play Pengu for 1 or 2 series at a time and they drop games because of it, that's the only reason I can find of them dropping games, because this is a really strong conference for Prospect. The top 4 or 5 are really strong.
Yeah. I mean, mostly I've gone the other way because of a lot of the other teams have rosters coming through from last season. Oberon have Zyro and Buckets. They were together last season. Cardinals have kept 3 out of 4 the same and picked up Dehydration. So, and Kindling, yeah, the 3 1200s are definitely a boon to their chances, but Soren didn't do too well in playoffs. I don't think Killer Goose reached it. So based on what I've seen from Soren and Killer Goose in RSC last season, I just didn't have that much confidence despite their very high MMRs. And maybe that has to change with the preseason win.
Yeah, 100%. We've seen the Sorcerers come from flopping playoffs last season and being the most dominant team in minor so far. And I think that's the case with Kindling. So, should we discuss another team? Oberon, maybe?
Yeah, we've both got Oberon next after that.
Yeah, so I've got them 4th and you've got them 3rd. But that's with Kindling being lower. Should we put them at 4th?
Yeah, I'm willing to accept that Kindling could be better than Oberon. I think that could happen.
Oberon is Luna.
Yeah.
Okay, so the top 3 we have Kindling, Exelon, and Cardinals. Now, when the teams were picked, I was one of these who was saying Cardinals were easily going to win. They've got Hyvis, who was 2nd in Player of the Season last season, runner up to Torchic. You've got Maurice, who's really undervalued because he doesn't really play. And Dehydration is so solid for his value. He's one of the best prospect players in my opinion, and I tried so hard to get him before he went to Fort Templar. So that was my reasoning. And then we scrimmed them pre-season with Exelon. Now I have Ace and John remaining from last season, and I made sure that I got pure skills. But I was trying to get Dehydration in, and then I had to end up getting Ozan, who is really undervalued as well. His mechanics are sick for Prospect. But I think it's a 3-way battle here. And I don't know who... I've gone for Kindling first, and you've gone for Cardinals, but I can see why you've gone Cardinals.
Yeah, it's such a tough call. I mean, power rankings in general are so hard to just arbitrarily say this team's going to do worse for a lot of the time, but yeah, it's such a tight top 3, and especially when you're fighting for those upper bracket spots in the playoffs, it's really hard to call. I mean, we both put Exelon second. Well, we've gone 2nd and 3rd for Exelon. So do we go Exelon
3rd? I'm willing to put... I mean, you said you're willing to get Kindling higher because of what I said, so I'm willing to put Cardinals 1st and Exelon 3rd.
Yeah, and keep Kindling and put Kindling in the 2nd then. Yeah, that seems fair. So
I do think it's going to be a 3-way battle between these 3, though.
Yeah. I mean, when you think of top prospect players, they're all in these teams.
Yeah. Okay, so we have our Glacies rankings done. I'll just show them quickly in Photoshop. And we will head to Ignis now. So, who do you want to start with?
Well, it's a bit more of a change here, considering I've put Fearless Bravo bottom, and you've gone second.
Yeah, we did discuss this earlier, didn't we?
Yeah,
So Monk made these predictions a couple of days ago before roster changes, and I know Kampf is really highly thought of from Kindling. He's one of the highest in the league as well. And Fearless Shades was an all-star last season, despite Fearless Bravo finishing quite low in their league. And I've seen Fearless Shades perform extremely well in 2v3s as well in RSC.
yeah, that was a crazy match.
Yeah, so I think Fearless Bravo are going to be second this season with Shades and Kampf, but you think ninth, so I think we skip them for now.
I think yes.
The next one on the list for me is Limousine, and that would be the same for you.
Yeah.
I just don't know much about these players, and Boardstiff was a third man for Hecky's team last season, and he's rejoined that franchise. Rejoined Hecky on a new franchise, so... I know Kawhi is a NA player, which may affect his availability, so I think Limousine is last for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I know that Kawhi and Draki are friends, so there's maybe some chemistry in there, but yeah, as you say, Boardstiff, like, he did all right in playoffs in the end, but throughout the season, he wasn't that all too great in terms of stats.
Yeah, so we have Overturn next. I think we can put them in 8th.
Yeah, we've got them next up the list. Three players that have played RSC before. I mean, I'm looking at Coldfire, and he's had quite a lot of struggles in RSC. Really, he was sub for Kindling when they got third in season 6, and then last season he couldn't really get a proper amount of game time and struggled in the end.
He did request to go to Challenger though, and I think that was his downfall. He was a prospect player, and he asked to go to Challenger when the tiers moved a little bit. So I can see this going two ways. Either they have a poor season, or they have really good chemistry, and they finish higher, possibly a wild card. Because SBN Jason and Coldfire are really good friends as well. So yeah, maybe chemistry, like you said with Limousine.
Could be the deciding factor.
Yep. Next up, we have. So you've gone Orbit. Oh, I've gone Orbit. Sorry,
You've gone Orbit.
And you've gone Terror.
Yes. Well, we both gone Terra 6th.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's with Fearless Bravo being 9th for me.
Yeah. So I think we can agree with Terror being 6th or 7th here.
Yeah.
My reasoning for this is Yannick is a really good player, and if he's turning up to every game, then brilliant. They're going to win matches. However, Moraconda is 1185 this season, and I don't remember Monster Racer standing out on streams last season. When I looked at points per game in stats as well, I think it was around the 280 mark. There is no Cowley, I don't know anything about them, and Bready Nerd's always been one of the lowest subs in the league. And we saw in pre-season that they didn't get results without Yannick. He didn't play any single game. So I just think that's a reason why Terra might be low this season, and with Yannick concentrating on work and like uni and stuff, whether he turns up to games.
Yeah, I think Monster Racer had some availability issues last season as well. They were really struggling to get a team at all for the playoffs.
Yeah. Should we put these 7th then, seeing as we cannot agree on Fearless?
Fearless and Orbit being higher. Yeah, let's go Terra 7th.
I feel we're doing Yannick a dishonour, but like I said, it's availability at the end of the day.
Although there is no core level is a very funny username.
So, 6th place now. I went with obviously Terror, but I've still got Orbit to go, and you went with Hot Metal above Terror.
Yeah, you've gone Hot Metal a bit higher. I mean, I've put Orbit higher because they got semi-finals, but I didn't really look at how they got there. in the preseason. So, and they've had to. Did they make it? No, that was just a weird thing going on with the sheets. I think that it is just the same roster. Yeah,
Okay,
I think that it'll be a little bit stronger.
I I think I'm gonna agree with you here and bring hot metal down to fifth. I think let's agree with hot metal on fifth, and that is Forge.
So
And first, we can agree on as well with
yes,
is it necromancers,
mages.
mages.
I'm having severe difficulty learning the dark magic names as well.
They've changed that much because of the exorcist thing as well.
Yeah, that did not help.
Okay, so mages were really dominant through preseason. They
Yeah,
look like the best in this conference, and until they come up against Kindling as well, looking one of the best in the tier. So mages are definite first. So I'm going to agree with you and bring Prelude up a bit higher. Actually, no. Prelude have 155 cap remaining, and although I've heard AJ47 is good and Xenogenesis has been decent, and we've seen Benzi around, 155 cap remaining is a lot of MMR remaining. I mean, you could literally get another 1200 player in for that. So I just can't put them second.
yeah. I think I did that when they still had Krezers.
Yeah, he's just been cut,
And
hasn't he?
well, yeah. It didn't go through in the sheet right, so I didn't see it right. But
So should we put
yeah,
Prelude sixth? I feel like
sixth.
I feel like having Chung's rosters low is a dishonor as well, because we did this to him last season and look how he performed. But yeah, when you've
Yeah,
got 155 cap remaining in prospect, it's a lot.
it is. I mean, like, and that's with AJ being moved up at some point, so
Okay,
they could have been even lower than that.
yeah. So we have second, third, and fourth, and we have Orbit, Digestives, and Fearless Bravo remaining.
And we completely disagree on the order of these.
Yeah. I'll put Photoshop on for the stream so you know where we're at. So this is where we're on.
Yeah, I think I can agree to bring Orbit down into fourth here. Is
Orbit. Okay.
yeah. I mean, Durgam's been trying to prove himself as a pretty solid sub, I think. But I mean, Evian and Juliet's never heard of them. Haven't seen much of them in preseason. They got the semifinals and then they forfeit. So a bit disappointed from them there. So yeah,
Okay, so we have Fearless Bravo and
digestives.
Digestives. See, the thing with Digestives, they are a really solid side, but they had availability issues last season. Like, there was times where they were turning up for games with 2v3, they had forfeits, but they still managed to make playoffs, I think, or they finished fifth. Not
Yeah,
too sure.
they had a chance still in the last week to get it, but
Yeah.
Tartarus took it from them.
So I just think due to that, I think they have the disadvantage on Fearless Bravo. I know you didn't rate Fearless Bravo at first, but I mean,
Yeah.
Lucaris was popping off in preseason though as well. So
Yeah, he's just won the MVP and the finisher.
yeah.
Oh, it's tough.
I want
Yeah,
to give Fearless a chance. I think
yeah.
Fearless Shades is going to have a good team this season. So is it Fearless Bravo
Let's go Fearless Bravo. Let's put them second.
and third Digestives?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where we might need the chat's help. So we have a
Whoa.
predicted champion, and then we have a predicted dark horse, and the rule for the dark horse is that they have to be from 5th to 9th. So I don't think we've agreed on this, have we?
No.
So I've gone Kindling as the winner, and the dark horse is Prelude, and you've gone the winner as Exelon, and the dark horse is Digestives. Now that can't happen with Digestives now
Yeah.
because they're in the top 4. So would you agree with Prelude?
Would I agree with Prelude over Hot Metal or Terra? I mean, for me, Hot Metal have got more about them, especially when they have half of that roster that got top in Glaciers, was it last season? And
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do the best in playoffs, but they did all right. So for me, Hot Metal are still above Prelude in that.
Let's see what the chat says. We've got Dark Horse, we've got Kindling Stroke Bing and Dark Horse. See,
I mean, Asterix obviously going his own team there.
Bing could be a good side, but the thing, I mean, Endrick looks a good player this season, but he has finished bottom twice in RSC.
I think it's only once.
Are you sure? I'm sure
I think you're mixing up with Quick Study again.
Team. Okay. I'm sure he's been here 2 seasons. Though.
I don't think he has. Let me search. Okay. Mentioned Endrick in transactions.
Bing is very underrated. I know they're underrated, but it's because Endrick's the best player and we've seen him finish bottom before.
Yeah, he only played season 7.
Okay. I don't know, because Hot Metal have the chemistry with 2 of their players from last season as well. And I think Sabine is sub for them. I'm not too sure. Should we go Hot Metal?
I'm still going Hot Metal. Yeah, Sabinix is indeed the lowest on that team, but yeah, for me, Hot Metal are still above Bing.
Okay, and the predicted winner. Now I'm guessing. I mean, you've got Exelon and I've got Kindling. And I also think Cardinals could win this as well. So should we get the chat's help with this, or should we pick our own?
I don't know. I mean, we've both got mages here where we both dominantly said get first in Ignis, but Iglesias' top 3 looks so scary.
Yeah, definitely. I honestly think mages will walk the Ignis conference, but any 3 can take it from Glaciers, in my opinion.
D says Bing. Asterix says Bing for winner, of course.
The thing with Exelon, we've gone for like 3 mid-range players like Ace, Pure Skill, and Ozan, and they really need to be on the game to win. But I know the sub can do a solid job at 935 value. But Cardinals are sick. Like, we have been toe-to-toe with them in scrims. But from the preseason tournament win, I just have to go with Kindling. It just depends on how their sub plays and how they use him.
Yeah, I mean, I think John's the strongest out of these subs here. If you're looking at Gem and IC3 and Pengu, but yeah, the rest of the roster, it's so close between all of them.
Okay, I'm going to take the plunge and say Kindling. Purely because
you can take it. You can take it.
Cardinals made playoffs and had an amazing lower bracket run last season to the final, but they bottled the final, and Kindling won that one as well. Now, they've not got the same team, but Marbs knows how to run a prospect here. So yeah, let's just go with Kindling. And that's your power rankings for prospect, guys. If you want to take a screenshot and get them in the server. We will be posting a picture later on as well. But yeah, that's the final ratings, and we'll go on to Challenger now.
We've got one done. We've made some compromises.
It only took 20 minutes, to be fair. So on to Challenger now. And I'll let you start off if we got any agreed ones. Let's start with Ignis this time.
Going the other way around, we do. We have once again agreed at the bottom and at the top, actually. So at the bottom we both gone Satellite because they're the lowest. Are they the lowest cap here? Not quite the lowest overall, but they're not looking great. And Yeast, they're only like really top half play.
Yeast, Noosh, Jobin, and B-Shake. 2 of the players are under 1300, and they've kind of gone top heavy with Yeast and Noosh at 1420 and 1350, but they have 95 remaining. And I know Yeast doesn't really play the game much anymore. He's complained about his value and stuff, and he's looking to get back to his old self. But yeah, I think that whole team revolves around Yeast. So
yeah, and 2 prospects coming up as well. Can always be hard to prove yourself. I mean, Jobin won it, of course, with Kindling, and Bishik was the one in that final, but yeah, Challenger's a whole different ballgame.
Especially with it being 1425 cap now as well.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty much gone up to a minor tier as well. So we've got Satellite in. I've gone for Path of Rings 7th, and you've gone with them for 8th.
Yes. And then I've gone Parthenae 6th. So I think we're agreeing that Parthenae and Party Rings are the next two, but which way round is the question.
Yeah, so what were your reasons for Parthenae and Party Rings in that order?
I do rate. I mean, yeah, you're kind of looking at Wobble Congo as he dropped out last season and so did Grizz, so that's definitely something going against him. But I do think there's a bit of a team spirit coming here from Parthenae because I think all of them are good friends, Grizzly, Gandhi, Jay, and Wob. So I think the chemistry really puts him above Party Rings. Elusive, my old teammate from last season, going in with Envy and Mr. Potato. It's yeah.
They do
I
have
think Parthenae is
15 cap
stronger.
remaining, so they have utilized a lot of it. But I also know from people DMing me asking, "Can I have a lowered CMV, please? I'm boosted, please." I know people like that from some teams, so
Some unnamed teams.
yeah. So I don't know with these. I agree that these two are the next two teams, but in what order do you want to go?
I'm sure I'll take this one. I'm going to say Party Rings stay 8th, and I'll bring Parthenae down one to 7th. Unless you have a firm disagreement here.
No, I will go with Party Rings in 8th and Parthenace in 7th. So who's next?
Who's next? You've got Overrule. I've got Peerless Kilo.
Okay.
And then we've both got Apprentices after that. So Overrule,
Okay,
I've put in a playoff position, and you've put Fearless Kilo in a playoff position.
so let's get the ones that we agree on out the way. Let's go with Apprentices 5th.
And we have Neptunian first. I mean, Neptunian didn't win the preseason. It was Chorus, but I mean, they definitely looked like the scariest team because Toe, almost minor, Torin, almost. We had to investigate him and see if he was minor or major, but they managed to keep them both in the end.
Yeah, he is a 2's main. I mean, his mechanics look better than some majors, but he openly says that he doesn't really play 3's. I think they are going to be a really strong team if they come together and play well. They've also got the coaching aspect, which is why I put them first. So the next ones, we kind of agree to disagree with Chorus and Pyromancers. We've both got them second and third. However, we've got them opposite way round. I assume you've got them second because of the preseason.
Yeah, that was definitely a factor here.
Yeah. So I really rate Tomo for his value. He looks like one of the carries of that team. And they've improved a lot with Saltskegger as well. And Mytix is low value for someone who's been here for 3 seasons now. And I can kind of agree with why you've put them second, but also you can't count out Pyromancers when you've got Potter, who's made playoffs in I think every season that he's been here. I think that's 4 seasons now. You've got Chally, who's played here for 2 seasons. King Kazay and the Small Panda, who are been there 2 seasons as well. So they've got the chemistry and the experience. It just depends who finishes higher than who. But I think I'm going to agree with you here and go Chorus second.
Yeah, Small Panda finally lost his streak of All-Stars there. He was the only one to get it all 4 seasons since it was introduced, but couldn't get it last season when Neptunium really fell.
This one is
It is close between them.
Pyromancers.
Yeah.
It's always
GM's
Potter with
team.
his names and his bloody awkwardness in it.
I mean, it's unfortunate for him that he had to change Exorcist, but
Okay, so
I mean, doesn't help his look.
we have 4th and 6th left. We've got Overrule and Fearless Kilo. So we've got them 4th and 6th. 4th and 7th, you've got them, and I've got them 4th and 6th, but in the opposite order.
Yeah, no agreements here.
So my reasoning for Overreal being lower this season was because they've lost Terra, who was an all-star last season. And although Ike and Misplay are really good players, I don't really know too much about Rent and Aim. They do utilize the cap better than Kilo, but Kilo now have Frizzle, Neil, who they took off me, have Respect, and Mucky. And there's only a 20 MMR difference between them. I feel putting Frizz sick would be really disrespectful in Challenger.
We've just put a ninth, but
So I have to put. I've agreed with you on quite a few things here, so I'm going Fearless here.
You can take it.
Otherwise,
the only thing I know about...
I'm safe as head admin, but I'm scared for you if we put Frizzle lower.
Yeah, let me change it. You saw nothing for us.
Which Fearless is it? Kilo.
Because Vapids wanted it to be Kilo last season for reasons unbeknownst to us.
And then we've got Overreal, is it?
With 2 R's.
Yep. Okay, that's Ignis done. So
1/2.
Have we got any agreements on Glacis?
Once again, agreeing at the bottom here with Masai. They've gone from one table bottoming side to, in our opinions, another one with Adam Mango and NX Spacey and Shez.
Yep. So I had what's his name? Slicey Shez on my team last season. He's a good player for prospects, but he ranked up about 200 MMR throughout the season and then struggled to get on a team until the end. So I don't think they've got the chemistry with each other. Mango went up about 4,000 MMR in a week. And he finished bottom of prospect last season. So I just think based off previous leagues that they were in that we have to put them bottom. And I think the cap... The interesting thing here is that they've actually utilised all but 10 of the cap as well. And we put in ninth. So... But next up, I have Spark, and that's purely because I think Linton, Chelsea, and Nakoma are really good players. I don't know much about the other two. However, Linton had availability issues. I think he plays a lot of cricket and didn't really turn up much for minor last season. Now he's gone to Challenger, but it's whether him... I think he could be captain as well. It's whether his availability suits the team. And I've just put them 8th because of that, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've only got them in 7th, so I think I'm willing to drop that one. But I went Atlas because they've obviously just lost. Well, not just lost, but lost Reed relatively recently. He went to minor with the custard creams.
Yep.
And the other 3, I just don't have much faith in. I'm big Chevs. He was on disconnected last season, and they really didn't do all too well, I don't think.
Yeah, I had Atlas 5th purely because of the experience they've got in RSC, but I agree that Dreed was one of the better players, and it depends whether these 4 can have some chemistry together, but I'm willing to put them in 7th, if that's where you want them.
Here you go. Yeah, let's... Well, we could have Orcus 7th, actually, because we both got them pretty close to on as well.
Yeah.
So do Atlas deserve above Orcus or not?
Okay. I think these could be one of the underdogs, Orcus. I think William Zager is a really good player for his value. However, he's at 1255 this season, which is a really low end of Challenger. Did finish 2nd in ECC and RSC for me last season, but Challenger boundary has changed so much this season. I don't really know too much about Petroid other than that he was a minor sub 2 seasons ago and didn't get a Challenger team last season. I think if they play well and get some chemistry together, they could do well. But yeah, I've put them 7th, and we'll go with Atlas 6th.
Yeah. I mean, Orcus have a full team of people who have played in RSC before, and yeah, half of them don't really stand out. Camboy and Patroid haven't done much, as you say. But El Jefe and Will's gonna have to, try and use some of that experience. El Jefe did get playoffs last season, as well as Will's.
So I guess the next 2 are Crusaders and the Zuko gang.
that would make sense. We do agree on our top 3 somewhat.
So Crusaders 5th. I think these could also be a wild card for winning. With Satan's General, always does really well.
Yeah, of course, got those 33 MVPs in, was it season 6?
Yep. 33 MVPs in Prospect was silly.
Yes.
So Nezuko Gang in 4th.
Yeah, I think Lagarde has been. I mean, he's been around quite a few teams in this preseason, but I think most of them have rated him highly and been forced to cut him in some way. So I think he's a relatively good pickup.
Okay, so
Came
top
in
3
from
now.
IGL.
So
Top 3.
in top 3, I have Epsilon 3rd and you have Yahoo. I have Scorn 2nd and you have Scorn 2nd, so I guess we can put Scorn 2nd.
But do we? Or, just we both got Epsilon and Yahoo reversed.
Okay, so let's
I don't
discuss then.
Let's discuss.
So Yahoo absolutely dominated preseason. They've got Victor, who was the Player of the Week and Team of the Week, and they only fell short in the final, which was to a cross-conference team. So I think based on that, they are going to win the conference. However, yeah, I just think it's Yahoo Scorn and Epsilon here. I'd like to say your thinking on your side.
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of faith in that link up between Fawn and Davy from last season and bringing in Easton Tani, all players with experience here. And Fawn and Ice Davy, they could have gone further in those playoffs, but they did fall. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's what you're looking at because Yahoo, you're looking at them dominating, but I mean, another factor I think is the fact that they are the lowest MMR in total in the whole tier.
Which is
another reason.
why I'm still suspicious about this team. Because apparently a lot of people are saying it's broken and that they're beating majors, but for their value, I mean, they were using 5,245. They've got 115 cap remaining. Every other team is under 50 cap remaining. I just don't know how this team is so good, and it's one that I'll be keeping an eye on anyway.
But who did we go with?
Due to the rumours of how good they are, I'm just putting them first. I do agree that Fon and Ice Davy are really good. And they did attend my tryouts as well. However, the reason I put Fon third was the fact that what was their team name last season?
Emotos.
Imutos. They went 6 weeks without winning a series. And then all of a sudden they went on a massive run and made playoffs. So if they have another slow start, which they can't afford in this group this time, I just think that's the order. Yahoo Scorn Epsilon.
Yeah, okay. It's even harder when there's 9 teams. The slow start is even more of a detriment. Okay, so I will admit your top 3 to mine.
So I'll let you start discussing the dark horse.
Yeah, so we do agree with our dark horse here, which we didn't last time, and we've gone for apprentices, and they do indeed stay outside the top 4 in order to let that happen. So, I mean, if this is one we agree on, do we just put them straight in? They've gone with it once again. I think it's not very often it happens in RC that a team stays the same 3 seasons in a row, but that is what the apprentices have here. They have Think I'm Indy, Caliman Sam, and the other one.
Yeah, so
what is his name?
Duck's a really good gym, and I feel like we disrespected the power rankings last season. I think we put them 8th in Challenger, and they ended up doing really well. Caliman Sam, for his value, was really good. I got him in as my ECC manager and sub for ECC last season. Ended up playing the playoffs for us because we didn't have a full team, and he was the best player, better than Kincaid. So I think he's undervalued, and apparently Mag's now just hit GC. So yeah, I think that is our thinking around the dark horse. But who would you go for the predicted champion in that case? You have Neptunium, I have Yahoo, but I also think Scorn could do really well, and Chorus.
Yeah, I think the top three in both sides here. We've kind of separated our top three in both sides of the tier, and all six of them definitely have a big chance at it. But yeah, between Neptunium and Yahoo again, that sort of cheat team. Like, how is this working? And Neptunium with the coaching with the almost minor players.
Yeah, it's three almost minor players with Neptunium as well. But yeah, I can't decide between the three almost minor players and the absolutely broken, possibly Smurf team.
Should we give the ultimate shout out? He wants it in the chat.
Who's this? Say my
A
name, might
certain
as
Mr.
well.
Boopy.
Yeah, I also want to avoid Boopy's ego, to be honest. Right, let's have a vote in the chat. Who is it between Yahoo and Neptunium?
Do we have we put a poll up? Will that take too long? We just wait for the chat to come in. There seems to be might be a little bit of popularity contest here with Panic in the chat, but
Yahoo 3-0'd them in the semi. Okay, based off that, I'm going Yahoo. They 3-0'd them in the semi. It all depends on it depends on Neptunium's coaching as well, but yeah, I still don't understand how a team with 115 cap left is so dominant against all.
We're predicting them champion, like
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Asterix has been in the RSC chat as well, saying it's broken himself. So if the GM's saying that, then
yeah, maybe he's just trying to big himself up though.
But Boopy does it with Torrent, so
yeah.
Right, let's get on to minor. So we'll start off with Places.
Am I doing minor?
Oh yeah, it's Axos. Yeah,
it's Axos. Right. I'm running away.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to a quick break. I'm gonna get Axlos in here. Barmanitan's gonna return for Premiere later on.
Premiere. Yeah.
So thanks a lot for joining me, Barm, and we'll see you in just 2 minutes.
See you later.
Hello. We played a Sorceress in the preseason final today because we couldn't find a scheduled time yesterday. So yeah.
And I was muted again. I keep forgetting to press unmute when everybody come back on stream. But yeah, here we are. So we're going to start off with the minor power rankings now. And as you can see on the screen here, we have discussed it a little bit. But we'll start off with the Glacies side. And we both have Hydra, Safari, and Vanguards in the bottom three.
Yeah.
So, would you like to expand on why you've gone for that?
Obviously, Hydra was low for me. They didn't really perform in preseason now, and although Lua and Fleege played last season together, I'm pretty sure they're like among the lowest in the tier. So that's my reasoning behind like why I put them last in the Glacies conference.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've got about 100 MMR remaining, if I'm correct. Yeah, exactly 100. They've got a 1430, 1430, and a 1450. And it's all very much just mates playing together with North in there as well. And yeah, it very much depends if North is playing. I've scrimmed them myself with Toxin, and they were a very, very hard game. But it depends on how it continues in league play. And I do think if it comes to a point where they need to improve, they've got 100 MMR to bring someone else in as well. But tell me about Safari as well.
Yeah, again, they've had a few roster changes already. I'm pretty sure. It didn't look strong at all in preseason either. I know Carlos from before. I've heard he's cracked, but he doesn't really play the game, and same with Angelo. I'm pretty sure. So I don't think they'll be too strong this season, just because of that mainly.
Yeah, I feel like we're doing a big dishonour with putting Anchelo so low, and I've heard Carlos is really good as well. I have also scrimmed these with Toxin, and they are a good team again. However, they had around 5 or 6 players at that time, and like you said, they've made some changes as well. So I don't actually know who their strongest team is yet. And with Vanguards as well, they're very much a team who was trying to find a team into the into the end of preseason. They were still trying out people. So I don't actually know what they're like now. They've picked up Melts. I've heard he's got a 1600 peak, but until we see them play, I can't really put them higher based off the scrims that we've done so far.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Erebos and Yoruba. Now we've got them in opposite directions. So I put Papusa, Luna, and Pulse 6th, and you've put them 5th. And Senji, Mickey Boy, Falgande, and Source in 5th, and you've got them in 6th. So where would you like to head with this one?
I think I'm gonna. I think I want to stick with what I've got currently. So Ariba's in 6th, and then Yoruba in 5th. I think mainly because I've heard Pulse is very good, from what I've seen as well. Meanwhile, Mickey doesn't really play the game, and both Sauce and Senji are very low in minor.
Yeah.
Although Thalgande made minor playoffs last season with Disconnected, I think. So they could work together, but I think I see them as the bottom 4 at the moment, anyways.
Yeah, it's potentially a dark horse. I think with Might of Hades is minors this season. They could do really well, or they could just completely flop. I know Senji's put a lot of thought into this team as well. So I hope it works out for him. Mickey coming down from Major, who was elite 3 seasons ago, could potentially work. Falgande could have potentially been Major this season. But yeah, I agree with you. I'll go with Erebos 6th and Yoruba 5th. I think that's very much based on Pulse performing for them as well, because in scrims, I would have put Erebos higher than them.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Pulse need to be there on the day for them to perform, I think.
Yep. So in 4th and 3rd, we agree with this one. I think this is going to be the quickest one we've done so far. I like you having you on, Axelos. We've got Ember in 4th, so tell me why you think Ember will be 4th with Marbs, Luke Foss, Kyrgios, and Suki.
I feel like they're going to be a strong team, but I think the top 3 teams in Glaciers this season are just outstanding. I'm not going to lie. So I think they're just like another level from the rest in Glaciers. So I think they're definitely going to be a like strong performing team, but I don't think they quite reach Prominence, Toxin, and Arena Tribe.
Yeah, these were the first team that we ever played in minor, and it shocked us how good the standard was in minor. Obviously, me and Dodge have come down from major. Very, very demo heavy team. Luke Foss is easily one of the best players in minor. But they have some, not chemistry, but like issues of people just going around the field demoing and putting themselves out of position. Maybe just need to work on how to play as a team, and I think they could potentially sneak the top 3. But speaking of the top 3 in 3rd, which we agree on, is Cubby, Azure, Pete, and Adept in 3rd. Prominence. So these have just 5 cap remaining. It initially was something like 75, but we knew that Cubby had a GC2 account. We just didn't have the tracker for it, so he's now moved to top and minor. And the team still fits at the end of the day. Adept is really undervalued for 1430. Pete's a really good mechanical player for 1460. And then you've got Azure and Cubby who can read everything off the wall, some outstanding goals. We only just drew them in pre-season 2-2, and I believe you've been scrimming them as well.
Yeah, we've scrimmed them quite a bit, and they're definitely a strong team. As you said, Adept very undervalued there at the bottom of minor. Very sought after player, I know. But yeah, they're going to be one of the strongest teams, I think.
I thought it was big brain in draft by getting like 2 extra picks to get him in round 3 as a round 6 player, and then Keza just kind of goes, nope, I'm having him in round 2. So yeah, Keza's done really well to put this team together. So the top 2 now is a debate between Toxin and Arena Tribe. Now, until we got swept by the Sorcerers, I would have said that we would be top because we were steamrolling people in scrims and games. And then Sorcerers just absolutely clapped us. And then you've been saying that Arena Tribe are possibly one of the best teams in minor when you've been playing them and scrimming them. And I believe you reverse swept them.
That is correct. Although I do like they have a few problems with their team where they push third man up a bit too far. So that's definitely something they have to work on. So that could potentially bring them down a bit as well. But
It sounds like Toxin, to be fair.
yeah, but yeah, I base this purely because what I've saw from you guys in the Sorcerers versus Toxin game, and then Arena Tribe versus us, of course. So
Yep.
I think Arena Tribe is the stronger side here.
Okay, I'll go with that. Putting us second is an advantage, puts us under the radar for finishing first as well.
Yep.
But yeah, Toxin second, and we have Arena Tribe in first.
Yep.
I think that's the quickest we've gone through one conference. So I'll let you start off on Ignis. What have we got any agreements on this one?
Oh yeah, we got quite a few. We agreed on top 4 and bottom 3 as well. So if we start from the bottom, we have Heki's Montebelliard. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but I don't think they're one of the stronger teams here. Didn't perform at all in preseason. I know Tuck and Grog know each other from before and have a lot of chemistry. And same with Hickey and Punky, but with both Hickey and Punky being promoted from Challenger this season, I don't think they're going to perform, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can agree. We scrimmed them in pre-season. I think we were like 7-1 up, and there was a bit of a mentality issue from someone on that team. There was 2 players promoted from Challenger to minor as well. I think they've got the foundations to be a good team, but I think they really need to get a coaching to improve on that. Tuck and Grog are really good mechanically, and Hecky and Punky are really solid third men as well. But for it to all to work, I just think they need a bit of help with that team.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Overkill. So I know Overkill from last season. It's pretty much half of the team remaining, DP and Brandau. Didn't perform too well. I think they finished like around 8th or 9th. Sorry, 7th or 8th in their conference. I know Lutix is a really good player, though. I thought he was one of the best on Shaman's team in pre-season, but he got cut. I don't know too much about Ipona, though. His value is... Let me just find him. 1470. With Lutix at 1505 and 80 cap remaining. They've got potential to do better, but I think at the moment we've got them as 8th, so...
Yeah, I agree. And then we both got Journeyman at 7th. It looked like quite the stress from Stee yesterday trying to sign players, and I know they've had a lot of struggle there with Pablis stepping up to Major and leaving the captain spot for Stee, who just got signed that same day. I think he switched basically the entire roster out and only kept Vampire Squid from last season.
Yeah.
So they're a very new team. I know I had both Stee and Harvey in preseason, so they have played together before, but I still think they're going to be quite low with not a lot of chem in that. So
yeah, we actually was the scrim for them for their tryouts, and I actually told Stee who I thought the 3 best players was, and he's only picked the 1 person out of the 3 that were there that I told him. So they've only took on Excitify from the players that we played. So based off that, I just put them 7th as well. I don't know what it is with Ducks minors, but they always have an issue at the first 2 weeks of the season. So hopefully they can sort it out early this season instead of going like 0-8 like they did last season.
Yeah, definitely.
So next up we have 5th and 6th. Kind of in agreement here with the two teams that are there, but in different ways, different way round. I put Fearless Echo 6th purely because Buddha's not got PC right now, so he's on console, and I think Zinx and Reagan are quite low picks in the tier. So I kind of find that Saprix is going to have to do a bit of carrying here if Buddha doesn't get a PC quick. Whereas you have them 5th.
I think I based this off Cillian still being on the Fearless Echo roster.
Yep.
I know with him quitting RSC this season, I would agree to bring them down one step to 6th spot and put Custard Creams in 5th instead.
Cool.
But yeah, I think Regen and Sinks, as you said, both low picks and 65 cap remaining, if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah, 65 cap. That's still... They could make a roster swap if they need to, if they want to see improvements as well. So they have potential, but at the moment, I think they would place well in 6th.
Yeah, agreed. So tell us why Custard Cream's 5th.
It's kind of the same with the... Like, obviously, they have half the team from last season coming... winning Challenger with the Yo-Yo and World. And I've heard a lot of good things about Geodude as well. And obviously Dreed being one of the contenders for Challenger Player of the Season last season. Promoted from Challenger to Minor by Custer this season as well. I think they're going to be a good team, but they're not going to be at the top. But yeah, so the chem between Yo-Yo and World is going to be important here, I think.
Yeah, it's a big step up for this team, and I always do this with teams that are stepping up a division. I remember putting Woozy's team and from stepping up from Challenger to putting them like 3rd or 4th or 5th last season in power rankings. A Challenger to Minor is a big step up, especially with the tier boundaries changing so much this season. And I just think they rate themselves higher than they actually are, especially with the people we've got in the top 4. I really do rate Geo though. He's highly improving, plays in the uni scene as well. So looking to him to spark some magic this season because he really did well in the major preseason game that he played in. So we have Custard Cream's 5th. Who would you like to go with in 4th?
I think we've both gone for Comet there. I think we've agreed on top 4 actually.
So we both agree on the top 4. I'll let you discuss why you've got them in that order while I put them onto the photo shop.
So obviously Sorcerer's being top, winning preseason, getting first in the Ignis Glaciers conference last season with the same roster of Luke, Pepper, and Anthony, with a new sub though. I think they're definitely one of the strongest teams this season. I think they're going to win Ignis this season. And then I have my own team in 2nd. We came second in the preseason tournament today. Lost in a game 5. I think we definitely have improvements that has to be made as well in both defense and offense. But I think we're going to be one of the top teams from what it seems like right now. Then we have Concerto in 3rd with Mendonator, FNX Form, and IMX Swifty. I know Form from before as well. Finished. He made playoffs last season with Disconnected as well. And I think they're just going to be a strong team overall. Mendonator getting the Savior of the Week in Minor this season from the preseason. From the preseason this week. And I just think they're going to be a very solid team that will perform, basically. And then in 4th, we both had Comet as well with Huggy Dispatch, Evil Mighty, and Mystiful. Mystiful promoted from Challenger this season, I think. And Evo pretty low as well, so I think they have around 100 cap remaining. Yeah, 115 cap remaining. So, and in my opinion, Huggy being one of the best players in Minor this season, I think they're going to be a very strong team. but not quite at the top. Maybe gonna have to do some roster changes with the 2 low players, but they're gonna be a strong team.
Yeah, Mystical is actually minor. I think he just hit the boundary just before. He was leveling up quite quick, so he can't go down to Challenger if he wanted to. But I fully agree with you here. Sorcerers, I probably would have put second prior to today, or prior to us playing them as well and getting swept. I found the playstyle really weird, but it works. All 3 of them just guard the goal and counter on teams, and when you're so mechanical like they are, it worked. They've also got the chemistry together from playing together for a season. Some might say we were disrespectful to them last season with how much better Ignis was than Glacis, and it kind of showed in the playoffs, where they went out after winning the first round and getting knocked out of the second. But I think it's a whole lot of improvement this season. They've clearly grinded together, and the only negative I can find about this team is whether their sub is at that higher standard as well. Whether they play the sub and they can actually win games as well, because all I've heard from teams is that they'll only play with the main roster. So yeah, I haven't really seen the sub. Uranium, like I said, I probably would have put you first until we got swept. But Concerto, we scrimmed them the other day, and although we won quite a few games, they were a really hard team to play, really mechanical, really undervalued. I think Phoenix or FNX, however you say it, is a really good team. And Comet as well. You've told me really good things about Hoggy. I haven't actually seen him play, but I saw the results in pre-season and they only won when he played. I know Dispatch is saying that he keeps his value down to play minor as well. Whether that's true, I don't know. But yeah, I think that's a solid team to finish 4th in. But now we've got to go to our dark horse. Who do you see from 5th to 9th winning this tier?
I've put Custard as the dark horse this season. I think we put them 5th. Yep. I think with Jojo and World, if they're on their top performance and with all the good things you spoke about, Geodude, I think they could be one of the top performing teams because they have that chemistry from last season. So I've got them as my dark horse this season.
I don't see that team winning. I know it's a dark horse, but dark horse for me is someone who you think can potentially win. And like I said, a Reboss, it's either going to be a hit or a miss. And I can see if they play really well, then they're going to be up there. They could be a playoff team, but we've got them 6th because we don't really know how it's going to work with Senji and Source in there. The top 2 players are at the top end of minor, and you could compare that plan to Toxins with myself and Dodge at the high end and 2 lower players. It's just whether it works at the end of the day. Mickey has been elite at the end of the day, and if he does play the game and he does play well and he doesn't meme, because we know he's a meme player sometimes, then I can see them doing really well. I just don't see, after winning Challenger last season, I just don't see someone coming up and winning minor. And that's the problem we've got with Custard Creams. So let's put it to chat. Who would you prefer out of a Reboss and Custard Creams to win the tier?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could say Minty, but Minty had J Hill and Cristiano as well. Like Custard Creams is a full Challenger team coming up. We've got 2 a Reboss, 1 Custard Creams, 3 a Reboss. Vector doesn't think either will win. Who do you think will win, Vector? Geodude is a major player. I regret cutting him at the end of the day. I'm trying to see who Vector's put there. I think everyone's saying a Reboss here. I think we've got 2 Custards. I'm going to go a Reboss.
Yeah, I'm down to switch over to Rebus as well.
So the predicted champion, I've got Sorcerers based on the last two days of gameplay, and you've got Arena Tribe.
Yeah, obviously I've play them both now. Played Arena Tribe in semifinals in the preseason tournament, and then Sorcerers in the finals. And I think Arena Tribe is the stronger side here. I think they have a more difficult play style, harder team to play against. If they fix their small mistakes they're doing, I think they're going to be almost an unbeatable team. And I see them winning against Sorcerers pretty easily with their play style. Very demo heavy, will work against top teams that are good at defending.
Okay.
So as long as they fix their mistakes, they're going to be a top team in my opinion.
Cool. So that is your minor power rankings. I'm going to agree with Axelos there. I do think Sorcerers are going to do really well, but maybe we'll see an Arena Tribe and Sorcerers final. Who knows? But that is minor. So we'll go into major now.
All right. Should
Okay.
we start with the Ignis conference this time, maybe?
Yep, we'll go with Ignis. So who's the first one you've got?
At the top, I've got Bladesmiths, and so do you.
Okay.
I think with Wolfie Duck and Satsu, they're going to be a very strong team. And then Pablis is as promoted from the minor team this season.
Let's start from the bottom first. So
all right.
We'll go with Rhapsody.
Yep, and we both have them there. Yeah.
Okay. Can you expand on why?
So we have Jack Connor, Spartex, and Vortex. Spartex coming up from Challenger last season. Obviously, a very good Challenger last season and still a very good player. I think he might struggle a bit against the higher players, and I think Vortex isn't that high either, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Vortex is like 1580ish, I think.
Yeah, 1540.
Or 1545, yeah. I think 1580 is his peak.
Yeah, and then 1600s. I don't see them performing really this season against the other teams in the conference. So I've got them last in 9th spot.
Yeah, I think there's 5 teams, I think, from 5th to 9th that they've all got like 25 and 30 cap remaining, and these are all in the bottom 5. Major's just looking really strong on this side with, I think, 3 teams utilising the full cap and 1 team with 5 remaining. So maybe disrespectful to put people at the bottom, but we've literally got teams on the same amount of cap, like 5 teams pretty much. So Jack, Connor, Spartax, all 1600. They've got a 1545 sub. Spartax coming up from Challenger to Major. It's a big jump. Vortex was on their team last season. Might get chemistry over the others. I know Jack's a really good player, but it depends on whether the other 3 perform. And they've still got 30 MMR to pick up someone higher if they need to. So, who have you got in 8th?
I have Angel, Heiki's major team in 8th here, while you have Jamie Dodgers.
Yep.
I based this off. I'm pretty sure Heiki's major team here had a lot of cuts and trades and stuff in the major tier this season. Having Cans from the start and then cutting him, getting Hex and Feinin. I think Mash and Bolt are the only 2 that actually stayed from the start. So, and their performance wasn't too strong in the preseason tournament either. So I don't see them performing in the league play either, unfortunately.
See, I actually agreed with you at first. I put them 8th as well, but I felt hugely disrespectful to Fane and Bolt. However, I do think it's one of the weirdest teams I've seen put together. I just don't think that this team will mesh well. Based off the 2, 3, 4 seasons that I've seen some of those players play, I just think it's a team that would disband after a couple of losses, to be honest. And I'm probably going to agree with you here and put them 8th. Although I think all of them are better players than 8th, but I just think as a combination, I just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, I agree. All right. In 7th, I've got Necromancers. I think that's Potter's team.
Yep.
And you've got Angel there, but that becomes Jamie Dodges then, I presume.
Yeah, I just don't see Jammy Dodgers doing as well this season. I know they got to the preseason final and lost, but a lot of those games were done with a couple of minor players playing. The first time they used the full roster last night, they lost. Got reverse swept. Cristiano's a really good player, but Nick was the sub last season. Bailey has a lot of work commitments. I think he works nights, so that was kind of why I put them so low. And Mentsu only spent two weeks as a sub last season for Ignite's team, and then just didn't play again, I think. So yeah, I just think same with Andrew, really, because of that combination. I've put them low.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Right. Yeah. I can agree on that. Putting them in 8th instead.
Okay. I put them 7th.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, 7th.
I put Andrew 8th.
Yep. All right.
Okay. Next one.
Next, I have Overtake or
Yep.
Necromancers.
We've both got them 6th. So yeah.
Yeah.
What are your reasons for
that? I mean, Jay Hills coming up from minor last season, right?
Yeah.
Strong player. I've heard a lot of good things about both Haas and Axel as well. So I think they're going to be a strong performing team.
I know he's really disappointed with how preseason went. He knows they can do better, Jay Hills, and he's almost hitting 1700 himself as well this season. He's really grinded the game in the past season of RSC. Also finished first in ECC Div 2 for me, and only lost the playoffs because he couldn't turn up to the playoffs, and our replacement didn't turn up either, so we had to forfeit the semi-final. So yeah, I think this team has potential. It just depends how three of them play and which one is the main roster. I don't really know Sammy Kimos and Hazard that much, but I know this is the team that Jay wanted. So, next up, you had Necromancer 7th and I had them 5th. So I guess we put them 5th now.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think putting Potter's teams at 7th was a little disrespectful because I think they really do perform. He's shown how much of a good GM he is over last season, and in the preseason tournament again, I think he was one of 2 GMs to get 5 teams into the second round and 4 teams into the semis, or 3 teams into the semis. So I think he's done a really good job, and I think his major team will go under the radar as well.
Yeah, 3 teams into the finals even, right? Or 2 maybe?
2, I think. I think 2 teams got 2. But yeah, Necromancers, Dead Anshu's been here for 3 seasons now, and I think they've just signed Linis for... I think they cut Cynics and brought in Linis, and I think they must have done that because they identified a problem with the roster. And also brought in Super as sub. So I think they'll do well with this new roster. In 4th, we've both got Saturnia. Why is that?
So last night, I think, made or basically changed out their entire roster from Paul, Boopy, and Roll to Stainless, Steady, and Curry. Yeah. And then Spartan being the only one staying. I've spoken a bit to Darky, the elite player of Sol, who basically helped Spartan put this together, and I think they're going to be a strong team from what I've heard from him, but seeing as they don't really have any chemistry and not played any games yet together, I think they're going to be placed in 4th for me.
Yeah, I can't remember whether I rated these 4th with this roster or whether it was with Roll, Boopy, and Spartan. I think this roster very much depends on whether Spartan stays with this roster. He was on Saturnia last season and they had a really bad start and he quit and went to Jammy Dodgers where they ended up finishing in playoffs and winning the conference. So I think it very much depends on whether Spartan stays with a team. Stainless, I've heard good things about, and Deddy was on my elite team last season as sub. Gone down from elite to major, so I think he'll do really well. Kerudge was Valhalla minor last season, and was one game off making playoffs. I think they got knocked out due to goal difference or head to head. So he was unfortunate to miss out on playoffs after Valhalla initially going 0-8. So yeah, I think they'll do well if that roster sticks together. It purely depends on that for me. But next up, you've got Fearless Delta and I've got Meteor. We've just got them the opposite way around from each other, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on why.
I was looking a bit at the preseason results, and obviously, I'm not a major expert, so I was talking a bit to Boopy as well, who's played major, and I rated or I put them this way because I think Meteor has a lot of potential this season, and is a very strong team. 5 cap remaining as well, so utilizing the full cap. Same as Fearless though. I think Meteor is going to outperform Fearless and have a stronger roster based on their preseason performance mainly.
Yeah, I just find Fearless Delta will finish second instead of third. I think Meteor will finish third personally. I think Nor has been an elite player or had elite MMR for the last 3-4 seasons. He's always been on like 1660 MMR, and then finally that turned into major. Sarge is a really good undervalued player. Lanto has been around in major for 3 or 4 seasons. And Barissa was top player of the week on 2 stats this season. So I just find Delta will finish above Meteor.
Yeah, I'm okay with switching them around. Sounds fair. And then we both have Bladesmiths at the top there with Wolfie, Ducksatu, and Pablis.
Yeah, so tell me why you think they'll finish first.
Obviously, Wolfie and Duck having a lot of chem from before. And I'm pretty sure Satu and Wolfie having above chem as well. They're looking like a very strong team. Pablos as the sub there, I presume, just being promoted by minor. And they're still utilizing the entire cap they're allowed to. So based on that, I think they're going to be one of the top teams. And Duck being almost an elite player in my eyes as well.
Yeah, I think all 3 of them like playing with each other mainly for the comms as well. It's going to be a very memey team, and it depends if they play well together, because Wolfie's got a reputation of just stacking off, playing properly, and going for demos and boosts. So it depends if they play properly. The cap was kind to them. It went up 5 in the last few days before draft, so this team initially did not fit. But yeah, I can't see a more well-rounded team MMR wise than these. That's why I got them first.
Yeah.
But let's move on to Glacis now. These aren't just for people who haven't seen why. I know JSW's in the chat why they're so low. We are doing them on Photoshop as well. These are just ones that we did separately. So we've got I'll just put it up for you. So we've got Photoshop here as well. Okay, so in Glacis, what agreements have we got?
We've got 4th to 7th agreed on, and then we've switched 8th and 9th. So 4 to 9, we have the same teams there.
Okay, so let me get 4th to 7th in, and you can kind of talk about why you've got them there.
All right. So in 7th, I put Prometheus. I probably butchered that name, but with Stee, Conflict, Azure 2, and Drum Hunter. I don't really see them performing this season. Didn't have a great preseason either. Obviously, Stee staying from last season there. Could potentially perform, but I don't see them finishing higher than 7th as of right now. Utilizing basically the entire cap, though, I think. Yeah, 5 remaining. So not a lot to be improved there. Not a high. Yeah, I don't really see them performing as of right now. Then I've got Thanatos in 6th, and so do you.
Yep.
This I kind of just popped in there because I didn't really know where to place them, as I don't have that much knowledge of Major. But from the results I've seen so far, I think they could snag one of the middle spots there, and probably will in my eyes as well.
Yeah, Zulu did win the preseason tournament, but that was with two 1660s on the team. So they've just cut one to utilize the right cap. So they have played preseason with a higher player than most teams. But I still think they've got a decent team. Rukia was player of the week for the tournament as well. So, and Megamin in 4th as well. We all know Alanis won last season. Haven't got Hugo with her this time, so we don't know how that's going to go. But they've got Shires, who's possibly the best third man in RSC. And I know how she likes having a third man behind her to protect her for her demos. So yeah, I've got Megumi in 4th as well.
Yeah.
The one we need to agree on though is between Firefox and Genesis for 8th and 9th. Now I put Tropical, Cynics, Keza, and Moogle at the bottom purely because the starting lineup utilizes a really good cap, but they promoted Moogle from prospect to be sub. Now, I don't know how that's going to go in major. And if you compare it to Ujkan, who's absolutely peaking right now and doing well in 6-mans, Stenos, Paul, and Asterix, who have been around RSC for seasons, I just think having a prospect as a major sub is not the right way to go. But they're just playing for fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very close at the bottom, unfortunately. But I could agree on switching them around there. Yeah, with Moogle being so low, I am fine with that.
Okay, so we've got Firefox in 8th. Okay, so talk about 3rd. Who have you got there?
I put Venom as 3rd. Well, you have gladiators there. I put Venom as 3rd because they're definitely going to be a strong team with the line performing very well, playing a few elite games this preseason as well, I think.
Yeah.
Minty obviously winning both Challenger and Minor the last 2 seasons. And Anima as well, very solid player. And Sways, of course. I think they're going to be a strong team, but I don't think they're quite on the Blazing Gladiators level at the moment.
See, I can agree at putting them 3rd for now. However, I think we've got the better sub. When you've got QX5Z, who's promoted from minor to be major sub, that's where I think we're going to win some games over them. We all know Lovely Cans and Evoke did really well last season, but let's not forget that they had another 1650 player who's now elite with them as well in Tariq. So last season's major finalists, and they didn't lose a series or league play, did have a like 3 1650s pretty much, and they've got just 2 of them now. They've now got a 15. What's official? 1550 and a 1540 with them. So it very much depends on how their third man's going to play.
Yeah.
But I can agree
with that as well. Q being the third man, actually.
Yeah, I think that's what could draw them back. But I'm going to put Venom 3rd because we could also have availability issues at times with Swaces being a caster and coach and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
So we'll put Gladiator 2nd.
Yeah, sounds good. And then Blaze 1st.
So tell me why Blaze 1st.
Well, I had Gladiators at 1st now, but you kind of convinced me to put them down a bit. But obviously, Lovely Cans and Evoke performing very well last season. Coming in 2nd, unfortunately getting reverse swept in the finals. But I just think the chemistry might be enough to carry that team, actually. And But yeah, Blaze are looking very strong as well. So I am down to move the Gladiators down to second and Blaze first.
Yeah, I think Gladiators did beat Blaze in preseason, but I don't think they had their full squad there. I think Freddie hasn't played much, and Yellow Crab was missing. I don't think he's played for them yet, but I just know from IEL, Freddie and Yellow Crab is going to be a good combination for Major. Which brings us on to Dark Horse. So we've both got Zula as the Dark Horses. I'm guessing that's based on the preseason win and Rukia being a good player.
Yeah, performing very well. Obviously now it might be a bit more difficult for them as they had to get one of their players for the preseason or after the preseason tournament. But I still think they can be that dark horse and perform very well.
Yep. So
just blast all expectations out.
So the outright winner for me was Blaze, and the outright winner for you was Gladiators. Now we've just discussed this, so
yes.
Let's see if I have changed your mind a little. Who do you think is going to win?
I do agree on Blaze now, with the Gladiators having two lower players.
How do you
Blaze
think?
is looking very strong.
How do you think they'll step up against Bladesmiths? Do you think Ignis's top team can compete with Glacis?
Well, as we discussed earlier, I think it really depends on Wolfie Duck and Satu actually taking it seriously and not just messing around. If they do, they might have a chance, but I still think Blaze will take it in the end. And if they don't take it seriously, obviously they're probably not gonna get first in their conference either. And I don't really see Meteor beating out Blaze here.
Yeah, and I've just said to the people in the chat, you beat them with a minor, but I don't think Blaze had Freddy or Yellow Crab either. So, that is it for Major now. Thanks Axlos for coming on and doing minor and major a lot quicker than we did prospect and challenger. But I've got another special guest coming in a minute, and it's going to be Friday. So just give us a 2-minute break, and we'll be right back. Hello everyone and welcome back to the RSCast for the Season 8 Power Rankings, and with me I've got Friday.
Hello. Glad to be on.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know Friday, do you just want to give them a bit of an about you?
Yes, I'm GM of 410 Play. It's our first season in RSC, but we're looking forward to it. We've managed to get 6 teams this season, so it'll be pretty exciting to see how everyone does, I suppose.
Yep, so we're going to get started now. I think we're going to start with Glacis first, because we started with Ignis first last time. So who have we agreed on so far?
I think we've got 8th and 9th the same. And I think sort of a running thing with both the Ignis and Glacis conference is the bottom 2 teams having such a large CMV value spare, I suppose. And I think that can be quite critical in Elite because, especially in Elite where, minor sort of differences in players is what makes the difference in the game. So you see these teams with sort of low 1600, 1700 rosters going up against the 1800s, and it's going to be quite a significant difference in consistency and pace. So yeah, we've got Dogon in the 9th spot. I think they've got about 185 CMV spare RPM.
Yeah, that's one I don't get. Like, you also said to me they've got paid incentives going on, and they haven't utilised the full cap for the team, which I find kind of weird. It's 185 in the top second top tier is a lot. Like you said, you always have hidden gems in lower tiers, but in Elite, everyone's pretty much at that ramp because of the ranked value. And yeah, I just think Dogon really need a high player. They've got 2 players under 1700, and they've got 2 players between 1700 and 1750. So I think that's pretty low. I don't know too much about Khan and Ish though, but I know Ish was looking for a sub spot to third man spot at 1720. So yeah, if these the second highest, I think they really need an 1800 at least.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I've seen both Shosho and Zo in IEL. I think in sort of the top end challenger, and they're both solid players. But coming into elite, it's a whole different ball game, and issue again on that sort of barrier between major and elite. So it's going to be tough season for them. But if they are a solid unit and if they all get on really well, we've seen teams in elite before low level play really well together. So just because we play them here, it's quite a big difference between the bottom team and then the next team up in terms of CMV. So don't take it to be exact, but it's just sort of a big standout for us, I suppose.
Yeah, and we always say this is the chance to prove us wrong, not prove us right. So let's go on to... So we've got Google Chrome in 8th as well. I think that's one of the same reasons. We've got kind of a low MMR. 25 remaining.
Yeah, again, with Google Chrome, they've got another 2 players really just on the board with Static and Laser, and then the Louis, who's a much higher player. So I think sort of unlike Dogon, they've got 1 player on the sort of complete other end of the spectrum for elite, and then 2 much lower players. And it'd be interesting to see if sort of the dynamic between a much higher player is going to work for that team.
Yeah, I went with them 8th as well because I know Lewis was 1895 and we actually received a mod mail. It's like asking why he was so high. So maybe there's not that much confidence in his value there for one of the highest players in that tier. So that's the only reason that I went 8th as well. But it's a position we agree on. Next up, we've got Centurions and Rias Legion. Now, obviously, you put your guys a little higher than mine, I think. You've got them 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
With Rias 7th, I've got your guys 7th and Rias 6th. So tell me your thinking.
Probably slight bias on my end. I think we sort of heavily underperformed in the preseason, but we also were constantly changing our roster, trying to figure out, who we wanted to play. We came into it very much thinking that me, DMAC, and Riles would be the main roster, and Neo's has got a lot of potential. We weren't sure if Fury was going to be the right player as well. So I still don't think we've really decided on our main team yet, and that's why I think sort of anywhere in that 5 to 7 range is probably where we should be at the moment until we get settled. I think Rias is a very solid side again, and the only reason I suppose I placed him low is that Detroit, the last time I played him, had Ultras and Destiny on his team, which was a very, very solid roster. I've not seen a lot of Steb and Wizards sort of being in and out of the scene for a while, so it is a solid roster, but I think just it's a step down from what I've seen Detroit with, so I think it might level out the playing field between us.
Okay. The reason I've got Rias higher is because of Wizard. He's once been 1900 2K, I think, back in the day. I think season 14. So I just think that's going to improve their chemistry and value a little bit more than what you guys have got, because you've kind of got like the mid-range 1700 players.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to go 6th and 7th on your disadvantage for this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think our preseason hasn't really sort of provided much for us anyway, so I can understand that.
It's Vanguards, isn't it?
Centurions. Yeah. I think the next spots we've definitely gone very different on 5th, but then I suppose it kind of goes with our dark horse as well. So I've gone for Hades in 5th, and you've gone for Inferno.
Yep, Inferno I've got 5th. That's because I wanted them as a dark horse, and obviously 5th to 9th is dark horse territory. And you've got Hades, whereas you've got Inferno 3rd. I don't think Inferno will be that high up. It's pretty much just four players just playing together because they're mates, not really utilising full cap.
You see, that's also sort of why I put them a bit higher, because I think, especially in Elite, you've got to really enjoy the games. And I know those guys have a lot of fun when they're playing. So, and we scrimmed them as well, and also played them, I think, in pre-season, and they were very solid. We did play both Inferno and Hades in our group, and I felt like Inferno was the better team, but that was before Hades signed Nevo. So I can't really make too much of a decision on the Hades roster given the new signing, but I definitely thought Inferno were a solid side.
Yeah, the reason I've got Hades so high is because I mean Hugo's so undervalued for his CMV, and also with Nevo they've also made I think they were playing a sub throughout a lot of the preseason games, and they still finished second in the final to Carnage. And I'd still like to keep Inferno as the wild card pick for myself, so I don't really want to put them higher.
I think especially with Hades picking up Nevo, I'd probably move them higher anyway. So I'd be happy to move Titan and Inferno down.
Okay. So we've got Inferno 5th.
And then I think we agree Titan in 4th as well. Mainly because, I think Vector's in the chat, so he'll tell me if I'm wrong, but I think Vector and Zaki are on the same team in IOV in Season 7, I want to say, or maybe Season 6, I can't remember. But that was a really solid roster, and I believe I was with Harrigan and Azra at the time, and they gave us, I think they beat us in the last game of the season, so if they're just as good as they are, then with KO, it's a very tough roster, and they've got a lot of potential.
Yeah, and I mean, All's at 1690 as well. He's very much an up-and-coming player in Elite as well. Doesn't really play ranked much, and I remember him being the carry in one of the ECC divisions for the team that won it for them. I think he got MVP in ECC. So I know Louis told me that he's very much got someone who is really undervalued for each tier, so that could be All's for this one.
Yeah, no, Ollie's subbed in for our academy team in ECC in the finals, and they managed to win Division 1. So he's on a bit of a streak at the moment. He's definitely playing really well. I don't know if he'll get first team on the Titan roster, but he's definitely capable. And even if he plays a sub, it's a fantastic sub opportunity to have. I think sort of top 3, though, we've gone sort of vastly different. But then again, did we move Inferno down to 5th?
Inferno's 5th, yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe Hades in that 3rd spot. With the changes, I think they've definitely got a shot, but at least from when we played them, it was very close games, and we lost both of our preseason games, but I think we had, out of the 8 potential games, we had 6 overtimes.
Yeah.
So it was really close.
Yeah, Hades was one that I was struggling to put between 2nd and 3rd, because I think Serve's team is going to be really good, but I also think it could disband very easily. Like you said yourself earlier, Elite is a tier that could just go horribly wrong. I mean, power rankings never go the right way with Elite because of the roster changes, and I just don't see that roster sticking together, although Serve was one of the best players in pre-season, regardless of not getting to the semis. But yeah, are we going... Who are we going for 1st and 2nd? We've got Hades 3rd.
I think, Hades 3rd, I think purely based on preseason results and the fact that they're on really good form at the moment, I probably have to agree with you with Carnage in 1st. I think Serve's team's got a lot of potential, but it is sort of 3 just very good solo players, and it'd be interesting to see how that team plays in the season. But I'd agree just purely based on the preseason results, Carnage in 1st.
Yeah, that's what I did as well, based on pre-season. I probably would have put Carnage 2nd or 3rd because it was a big gamble from me to go with 3 1750s. I just wanted a well-rounded roster because it was so hard to get higher players. Didn't expect them to do so well, and we won the pre-season tournament playing 3 series with a sub and a major as well. So I think we've done really well to get there. But yeah, I would probably put Diamond Dust 1st if that team stuck together throughout the throughout the season. We can move on to Ignis now.
Yeah, I think we've both gone for the same for 8th and 9th in Ignis, and again, it's just that CMV. I mean, with Elite, it's so hard to guess really because they're all really good players, but when you've got players hitting into the 1800 range versus a full team of sort of 1700 players, the consistency is going to definitely be an issue. So those players are definitely capable, and I've seen quite a few of them in the league previously. Ranieri I played a few times as a very solid player, but I think both Brad and the Snake have come from Major. I know Brad has come from Major, so it'll be interesting to see how he does in his first season in Elite.
No, Brad's actually played 3 out of 4 seasons in Elite now.
Is he 3? Is it? Oh well, I know he's been Challenger a while in IEL, so
Brad was Major in season 6, I think.
yeah. Okay.
But the Snake is a IEL Challenger as well, so they're all pretty much low picks, other than Ren, I think. So it very much depends on who partners Ren and the Snake, I think. But yeah, I think people utilize the cat better than these.
And then in 8th as well with, is it Chianina? Motions, I think he's always been sort of up and around that 1800 range. He's a good player, but I just don't know enough about the rest of the team. I think, again, sort of very low CMB players, and it's just a question of consistency in this league.
Yeah, initially it was Dylan, Ketchup, and Virtue, and it's just 3 1700s pretty much. You've got Ben B as well, who's now X. He's on the cusp of Major and Elite last season. So when you've only got Motion, who's been on and off the game in the past year or two, because I remember him from previous seasons, and he was signed to Fane at one point and didn't really turn up to matches, so that could also be one issue. If that happens this season. So that's why I've got them 8th as well.
Yeah.
Next we've got we've got Asteroid and Jaffa Cates. We've both agreed on those 2 teams, but we've got them the opposite way around. I want to hear your thinking between it now.
Well, this was a tough one. I think I went for sort of individual ability rather than team, I suppose, but for Asteroid, Rufy, Loza, Roadmac, and Rahu, I believe, are all uni players, and the uni scene is very, very strong. So they're all going to be very, very strong players, and also know each other well. They're going to probably have a lot of chemistry in that team. Whereas Thrashy, I've only known Thrashy on one roster, and that's E Nightmare. It's probably the first time he's ever played with someone outside of that of IEL with a different team. So on paper, I think that's a very strong roster, and I could have even put top 4. But I just don't know enough about how they're going to do together without sort of previous experience, I suppose.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of sounds like you like the uni teams there as well. I actually put Rufy, Loza, Robomac, and Rahu above Jaffa Cates because of their experience. They're all over 1700s as well, so it's kind of like my team, Carnage.
It's 6 and 2/3 of those for me, yeah.
Yeah, whereas they've also got 5 cap better than Jaffa Cakes, but also Thrashy and JSW, I think, finished 6th in Elite last season in their conference. So with 50% of the roster staying and only adding Shay and Jusk, then again you've got Jusk at 1865 as well. So
yeah, I think on paper that's definitely a stronger looking roster for sure. Yeah. But like I say, there's a lot more strength in the uni roster, and that makes it really tough. But personally, I would just go with the sort of the higher end team, in my opinion, which would be Jaffa Cates. But
I'll go with you on this one. I think you've agreed with me on a few, so let's go with Asteroid on this one. I think Jusk at 1865 could just add a lot to Jaffa Cates.
And I think we've also agreed on Overwatch in 5th as well. We've scrimmed at Overwatch a couple of times. They're a very, very solid side, and they just picked up Matimu right at the end of the preseason as well. I think Matty's sort of like been a player that's gradually increasing over time, but he's a very solid player. And I think their main team is Duts and QC. So I don't know. Again, very solid side. They're around sort of the middle range again when it comes to CMV, except for Matty, who's a much higher CMV player. But they've just got a lot more strength in their roster, I think.
Yeah, so I would have put Overwatch a little lower if they hadn't have picked up Matty Mumu. I know Matty won RSC in Season 5 in our very first Elite season, and he's obviously going to have improved since then. It was over a year ago now. I think he's at like 1830 MMR or something like that. So, and Dutz Quizzy made the finals last season as well.
Yeah.
So I think they could be one of the dark horses as well as Inferno.
Definitely agree with that. I think they're probably a team that a lot of the top four are going to overlook, and I think people should be concerned about them because they've got strength in that roster, and they've proved it in scrims against us that they're capable of just banging goals left, right, and centre. So
yeah. So fourth, you've got Iovi and I've got Iovi second, whereas I've got Fearless Alpha fourth. So what's your thinking on this one?
well, I think I've got First Alpha third, and you've got them fourth. So I think it'd probably be the safer option to put Phyllis Alpha fourth.
Okay.
I think the only reason I put Phyllis Alpha slightly higher was because T-Burger has a lot of experience in playoffs. And I think sort of that, and sort of as a captain as well, and I think that brings a lot of morale for the team. He's also just a very solid player in general. And I guess the main thing with that team is when it comes to playoffs, you need people who are just going to turn up on the day, and Tio has proved that time and time again, both in IEL, Challenger, and in Master. So he's got a lot of potential there. Refresh and Ethro are just both very good mechanical players, and Jowett as well. Sort of the first time I saw him was in Challenger, and he was absolutely cracked as a player there in IEL. So lots of potential in that team. I think it's on the lower end when it comes to CMB, but sort of a team to keep your eye on.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, does this roster work? Like, I know T-Burger's just left IEL, and I think he's playing on console right now.
Right, okay.
Refresh his console as well. When you factor in console compared to PC players, I just don't know whether that would work. And I'd say the same for Iovi right now as well. I know I've got Iovi second, but I'm Stadium. He's playing on console right now. It isn't the same thing. We had Sato in Major playing on console one season, and we were tipped to finish first, and we finished 11th.
Yeah.
It's that change. I do agree with you that Refresh, T-Burger, Ethereal and Zhao are a very, very solid side, but when you factor in extenuating circumstances, will that affect them? I don't know. It's like us saying, will the team stay together for the whole season?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I mean, I know T-Burger obviously been on PC and moved back to console. I know Refresh has always played on console, so I don't think it'd be too much of an issue for him. But I guess we'll see with those guys. With Iovi, I think they've got a lot of potential to be top two. It's a very strong roster, but like you say, with Stadium on console now, is that going to affect him? Darky, though, is a very good player. Probably the toughest player we found when playing against them in scrims. So, I think this top four has got a lot of potential to change from what we've predicted. But
yeah,
generally, I think I'd probably stick with Alpha, Fearless Alpha in that fourth.
okay.
And I think I'd maybe put Iovi third.
Yeah, I'm willing to bring Iovi down purely because Stadium's on console. I do think it's a strong roster with Darky, but also Luke Capo has pop-off potential. He finished second on Dogon with T-Burger last season. The only thing that worries me about Iovi is whether they're going to win the sub-games. Strafe requested Elite as a major player, so it's whether he can keep up with Elite and like get results.
Yeah, I mean, I think those, especially Dark and Stadium, I think have got a very, very, very strong defense, and it should allow them to at least keep goals out where they can score with Strafe. I don't know too much about Strafe, but I think they're going to win enough games with their main roster that I don't think it'll matter too much.
Yeah. He's a solid third man though, so he could be the defensive person, whereas Darky and the others push up. But the top two, I'm guessing, are going to be Oracles and Nocturne then.
Yeah, well, I definitely think Oracle's second. I'll come to Nocturne in a second for the reason why, but KJ, I mean, he's a very, very good player. I'd probably argue he's one of, if not the best player in the league, Elite at least. And Azaz and Felix are, again, two solid players to pair with him. So I expect a lot from that team. I think they've definitely got what it takes to challenge anyone in that conference.
Yeah, and I know people will be looking at why have they got Overture first when they didn't play any preseason games? I mean, why else would we when they won Elite last season and they've only improved again? Like they've got they've swapped Virtue out and they've now got Tagmata, who's 1695. That's an upgrade on Virtue's MMR. They've got Geordie Unknown at 1805. And they've kept Vladimir and D Lynch, who in my opinion are quite undervalued for what they bring to the team. I don't know about you, Friday.
Well, I just think, like say, Vlad and D Lynch both won last season. They've lost. Was it Haven on the roster last season? Was it Mercy?
Haven,
yeah. So, but they've picked up Geordie Unknown to replace him, and given the cap's 1895, Geordie. I mean, had he not gone to Overture, we'd probably tried to pick him up ourselves. He's a very solid player, and sort of a perfect fit for that team. And then they've got Tagmata as the sub, who is probably just as capable as any of the three of those players. So that roster really can just change, and I don't think it would be affected at all. Tagmata's, I think, much lower than where he probably should be at. And then, D Lynch and Vladimir, two very good form players from last season as well.
Yep, 100%. So that brings us on to our dark horse now. I obviously said early, Inferno. You said Hades. But I also think we can't count out Overwatch. This is one of the ones that I was struggling to pick. So
now Hades. Now we've put Hades in the top three. I think I'd probably have to go with Overwatch, because I did have Overwatch in fifth as well initially, and I'd probably agree they are. Definitely a team I'm looking forward to playing against and seeing how they do.
Okay, and predicted champion. I think this is really hard for Elite, but personally, I would go Nocturne.
Because although I've said so much praise for Nocturne, I do think Diamond Dust with Serve is also going to be a very strong team if they can keep it going. But I think just purely off of last season's results and the fact that they've kept two of the main players and picked up a very strong replacement for Haven, I would probably have to go Nocturne.
Okay, great. Well, there are your Elite power rankings, guys. Screenshot them, put them in the server. I will be posting pictures later and pinning them in league discussion. But yeah, thanks for joining me on the stream Friday.
Been a pleasure. Thanks for letting me on. And good luck to all the teams this season as well.
Yeah, 100% good luck. And we are back with the Premier predictions in just 2 minutes. I'm going to get Barmanitan back in because he knows a lot more about higher ranked RL than me due to his casting. But yeah, see you in a couple of minutes, guys.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RSC Season 8 Power Rankings. And here back with me is Barmanitan for the Premier Power Rank.
Hello, everyone. I'm back again. Had a couple at the early part of the night, and we've had minor, major, and elite, and now I'm back again.
Yeah, we are back, and here are the rosters for Premier. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know a whole lot of high-level Rocket League, especially the bubble scene. I know some names, but that's why I've got Barm with me, because he's been casting it a lot recently. So I'll let you get started, Barm.
Yeah, I've been having a poke around look at the last few minutes, and I generally keep some sort of tabs on what's going on in the bubble scene. I'm sure they'll all be raring to go and calling me out on the fact that I know nothing, but I think I have some level of knowledge, and we've got less teams this time, only 10 compared to the 18 of all the other tiers, so maybe we'll be a bit quicker, but we do indeed start with an agreement here at the start, with your team Null being at the bottom.
Yeah, and I've talked about this with yourself as well. Like, I just want us to be the surprise package this season. I want to put us 10th so that we go underrated and try and prove ourselves. I'll give Kizzy a lot of free reign over this team. But I know he's also got two underrated players in Legdo and Iper. So yeah, I watched them in tryouts for the team and they were unreal. I don't know how they'll come up against like 2.2Ks, but I just want to give him his chance because he's such a lovely guy.
Yeah, I mean, and coming into it, I don't think I'd heard of either of Ipa and Legdo. Obviously, I'd heard of Kizik from last season, but I mean, I've seen Lido get a couple of results recently. I think in the Rocket Benelux Masters, he got something there. So there might be something more to this team.
Yep, hopefully. Hopefully they're
Hopefully.
underrated. But who have we got ninth? I've got Overburn and you've got Oreos.
Yeah, I mean Oreos again. Haven't seen any of them get any real results from Wikipedia. I mean, I've had a look around and they do have some, but nothing really that notable. Haven, he got player of the season in RSC last season, so he's got experience. That's for sure. But
Yeah, that was in the
Mm.
1660 to 2K tier though. This is like 2K
yeah,
to 2.2K, so it's whether the transition is good. I actually had Oreos 8th, so I can agree to put them 9th on this one.
yeah, and then we agree on our bottom four here as we're closing it out with some form of Overburn and Vulcan. And the question is who? I mean, Overburn, I was saying there, they recently got into or two of their members recently got in the Odyssey League finals. They had a slightly easier region to qualify from in Poland, but they still managed to do it, and they didn't completely bomb out of the finals despite losing the as soon as possible. They still had a chance to try and win in some of those games. So Overburn definitely have quality. Vulcan as well. You
Yeah,
got
I
any
just
thoughts on
think
which way?
I'd prefer to put Overburn lower than Vulcan on this one, purely because they're all RSC players, and I've not really seen them compete at a 2K plus level. They're all like 1950s as well. So yeah, I'm not really. I only know that Stat has made something like top 64, top 32 RLCS. So yeah, I'd prefer to put like 4 known players in the RSC lower than Vulcan.
Yeah, I mean Shane's done really well in the Wild Rocket series. He got into the major there. Futura, I've seen around. They've done some stuff as well recently. Maybe not so much, but Power Shot, the only one out of these bottom four, well, other than Lido, but Power Shot, one of the few here that actually have a Liquipedia page, which is only something to go by to say that they've competed in a good few tournaments. So maybe that German guy there is one to look out for in this lower half of our predictions.
Yep. So who have we got above 7th? If we got Vulcan there.
Yeah, Vulcan in 7th. Then we move on to our next. Well, we've got 6th left, and we agree that the top 3 are set, and the middle 3 here are set. The next 3 coming up will be Warlocks, Finale, and Luna Esports. And yeah, I've got Warlocks next. It's a bit of a university team coming in, plus Alexei the Finn, the university team being Zeph, George, and Kiri. And
Yeah, I know with Potter that he's a really good GM, and I think he picked this team up really early. I've heard from other people that Zeph, Alexei, and George have got a really good experience in the bubble scene. But I also know HP, Sapphics, and Razor on Finale, who I've got 6th, are really good as well. And I think these middle 3 can't really be split that much.
yeah, I found it pretty challenging as well to try and put one ahead of the other. I think I went with HP and Sapphics because I know they've teamed before a reasonable amount, and they're both Danish. And Razor is that RSC player coming in. He was
Razor
the
kind
top.
of retired though, didn't he?
He
For a
did.
while.
That is true.
That's why I've got them 6th. I know they were beating people in
Yeah.
scrims pre-season because he was telling me, like when he was asking whether I wanted to pick him up. But when someone's quit the game for so long, I've been there myself. Like, I'm not saying I'm a bubble player, don't get me wrong, but when you stop playing the game, you lose a bit of your competitive edge, and I think that's why I put Razor 6th.
Yeah, it's tough. I was trying to find some recent results. HB, I think, just got 4th in the Svenska Rocket League in the Swedish league, which is definitely some form of result. And Gek from Luna Esports, we haven't really talked about any of these 3 yet. He's just won a monthly today. I can't remember what it was for, but had a reasonable prize pool for a monthly anyway. But Charlie being acidic, I've really seen nothing from them before, but they're on the higher end of ranked. Maybe ranked matters less at this sort of a level, but it's kind of an intriguing team for me because Gek he's made RLCS main event before in RLCSX there. So yeah.
So, can we go with Razor in 6, Razor's team? Finale?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you it because Sapix hasn't got the most bleeding edge results lately either. Maybe he's been taking a slightly smaller break from the top level of play compared to Razor, but yeah.
Okay, so the next one is between Luna and Warlocks. We both agree on the both teams, but which position? I'll let you have free reign on this one because I've just picked the last one.
I mean, really, it makes sense to go Warlocks because we've both put Warlocks lower than Luna in our lists.
Yep.
So we're kind of relying on some of this ranked MMR from Charlie and Acidic to transition over into a league, which maybe a bit of a risky game.
Okay, and then we have Lunar Esports in 4th.
We do indeed. A bit of an eponymous name going on. They thought it was worth it to keep the brand going on, apparently.
Yeah. And I know Charlie B, I think, is the highest player in the league with Lawley. So that's why I kind of put them so high. Louis bigged them up to be a really good team. Acidic coming in with Charlie, and then they picked up Gek after tryouts. So I'm interested in to see what this team brings.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by them because the rest I sort of feel like I have more of an understanding of, but it's sort of a bit of an anomaly in my knowledge.
Ralbone stated in the chat,
happened.
Charlie and Acidic were one game away from qualifying from the FTWD LAN today.
That's a big one. It was like announced out of nowhere. It's got like a 10k prize pool, I think, 2v2. That's definitely a result to take note of. And only the top 2 from each qualifier went through.
Yep,
so it could be good signs.
Moving on to the top 3. We're all in agreement with this one. I'll let you explain why.
Yeah, we have indeed agreed here. You had a little bit of a scuffle at the end there, but we've come to it in the end that it will be Flame third, Opera GX second, and Vibe in top. So Flame third with Hylia, Toxic Trace, and Sebadan. Sebadan, the only player who was in RLCS prior to RLCSX. So got results there and has been playing a lot of Uni Rocket League recently and getting into it. I've casted him a few times and he's definitely got quality. And when you've got Hylia, who's meant to know the league so well from playing since season 2, maybe with a little bit of a gap in there for some reason, but Toxic and Trace are very big pickups when you're looking down the rest of these names as well. Toxic and Trace, they do stand out. And Trace unfortunately couldn't play last season in the playoffs, but if he had, I think Dogon could have made a much bigger threat then.
Yeah, we all know the name Sebedam as well, which is why I put them first initially, but looking at it, yeah, we've got 2 really strong teams coming up, and I'll let you start off with Opera GX, Bam.
Yeah, Opera GX, Loreley, Blackstrike, and King JS. Loreley, as you said, tied with Charlie at the top of this ranked MMR, but that's not really what matters. You're sort of looking at their tournament results in this sort of situation, and Loreley definitely has him to back up his name. He's a bit of a ones-man, I think. Anyway, he's been definitely getting up there in some of the recent EU ones events, and hopefully he can try and find that to transition in. But I know Blackstrike and King JS have been a team for quite a while. They've been a 2 together with changing thirds. I think they've played a lot with BJB, but they've tried to go with Loreley here in this one. The only Turkish man, I think, maybe in the entire league. So, they've got a lot of results to back up their name into second.
Yep.
And yeah.
Definitely. I know Lawley from the top 100 leaderboards. That's about my knowledge
Yeah.
on it. But moving on to Vibing, we've got them first. We've got some of them in the chat as well. So what about them, Bam?
Well, they're the only team, as you can see from the name, that have actually come in as a 3 and wanted. Well, they were so strong as it that they wanted their own name. So they've taken over the Fort Templar brand and given it Vibing, which is just a spectacular name to try and take down RSC with. But the 3 of them have all got results to their name. Mingo played on Super Mode for a while. He made RLCS with them, I think. Crispy and Spectre, I can't recall if they ever made RLCS main event, but I don't think they quite got there. But when you're playing as a 3 and Crispy and Spectre have played as a 2 for longer than with Mingo as well, they've come off some good recent results. They got a second place in it was, if I go and look, it was the Urat Sunset Series Showdown, which, Gex team actually won that, but he's not playing with the team he played with. So sort of looking at Vibe and more from that, they won the €300. So, they've got recent results. They've got the Liquipedia pages, they've got the Vibe and brand, and in both of our opinions, that should be enough to take the victory home here.
Yeah, and we're going to move on to Dark Horse now, and it's not Adam Mango in the chat who's saying he's made RLCS. We need to pick someone off these 10 teams, and I'm kind of looking, obviously, top 6 is playoffs. We've obviously got first versus fourth and second versus third in the upper bracket, and then they drop down to play 5th and 6th. But let's say anyone from 5th to 10th, who are you saying the dark horses are in this tier?
Well, I've put down originally Vulcan, but that was sort of maybe thinking that top 6, because they were getting playoffs, weren't gonna be allowed it. So I think when you add in those 5th and 6th teams, it gets a lot closer, especially when you consider that we both had Luna, Oracles, and Finale in those 4th, 5th, and 6th. So it could well be that we give it to one of Oracles or Finale. When if I have to pick one right now, I think it's Finale. I think, yeah.
From what I heard, they were doing really well in scrims pre-season, when they were looking for an org. And you built Razor up until I was telling you that he'd retired for a bit. So the predicted champion then, we've both gone for Vibe in first. Do they win it in Championship Rocket League?
I think yes. I think they carry forward the league play, norm, and keep going. I don't really see them losing a series in it as well. I don't think they drop down to the lower, and I don't think they get bracket reset. It's very early doors to be calling it, but I'm doing it, and I think Vibe will take home the majority of the new £1,000 prize pool here in our first season of Premier.
Yeah, and just going off that prize pool, got to thank Lunar Organisation. As you can see the graphic on the screen, throughout all these tiers, they are the sponsor. They have given £1,000 to get the bubble scene involved in RSC, and we hope these people enjoy it. Obviously, league play has kicked off with, I think, 13 games tonight as well. So, looking forward to the season ahead. But that concludes our power rankings. I know it's been a long stream. We have tried to discuss it quicker, and thank you to Friday for making these sheets so that me and all the guests could compare our results. It is one of the longest streams of the season as well. I'm a bit tired now. So thanks everyone for coming on. Thanks Bam for joining me. Thanks Axlos Friday. And we are going to end tonight with the premiere of our new intro. We are going to be using this for the coming seasons. We don't want to change it anymore. It's getting quite a task to change everything each season. So it's only 40 seconds long. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Huge props to Sayo for making our videos this season. Couldn't do it without him. But yeah, good night everyone. Hope to see you in the next few streams coming up this week. Good night.
Good night everyone.